Okay, so when you think of Formula One, you probably think of the speed, right? The drama, the glamour, the screeching tires. But behind all that, there's a different kind of machine at work, a business machine. And honestly, it's not just a sport. It's a wild case study in how to make some serious money. Just look at this number, $3.2 billion. Let that sink in for a second. Yep, that's what the Formula One organization raked in just last year. That kind of money puts it in the absolute top tier of global sports. So that's the big question for this explainer, isn't it? How does this high-speed circus actually pull it off? How does it run as a billion-dollar business? Where's all that cash coming from, and where does it go? Let's follow the money. All right, first up, let's look at the big picture, the parent organization, Formula One, which is owned by Liberty Media. They have a really powerful and actually pretty diverse engine for making all this money. So F1's revenue is built on a few key pillars. The biggest chunk, a full 40%, comes from broadcasting rights. Think about it. Media giants like ESPN and Sky Sports pay a fortune to air these races. Right behind that, at 35%, you have race promotion fees. That's the huge check a city writes just for the privilege of hosting a Grand Prix. Then the rest is filled out by those massive global sponsorships. You know, brands like Rolex and Heineken. And, of course, all the merch and licensing, from hats to the video games. So that's the money flowing into F1 itself. But how does that wealth get down to the 10 teams actually on the grid? You know, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, your Red Bulls. Well, their whole financial model is this really fascinating mix of what happens on the track and some seriously smart business off the track. The best way to think about the teams is kind of like franchises. They have two main ways of making money. First, there's prize money. This is what they earn on the track. F1 dishes out this massive pot, about $1.2 billion, based on where each team finishes in the championship. But, and this is the key, for most teams, the main source of income is actually earned off the track. It's all about sponsorships. And these sponsorship deals are just massive. I mean, look at this. Oracle pays Red Bull Racing about $75 million every single year just to be their title sponsor. That logo you see speeding around the track, that is some of the most valuable advertising real estate in the world. And beyond that, teams have all these other little revenue streams. Ferrari, for example, gets the special heritage bonus. It's basically a payment for its brand power, for being Ferrari, an iconic part of the sport from day one. Teams also rake it in from merchandise. And a lot of times, driver salaries are covered by their own huge personal endorsement deals, like Lewis Hamilton's partnership with Tommy Hilfiger. Now, with all this money flying around, you'd think the richest teams would just spend their way to a championship every single year. And to stop that from happening, to keep things competitive, F1 introduced this brilliant strategic tool. It's called the cost cap. And it's pretty simple, really. It's a rule that puts a hard limit, a ceiling, on how much a team can spend on developing and building its cars over one season. Right now, that number is sitting at about $135 million. Now look, that's still an unbelievable amount of money. But the point is, it forces every single team, from the top dogs to the back of the pack, to play in the same financial ballpark when it comes to the car itself. But this cap isn't just about saving money. It's a strategic move. It's designed to force efficiency. Teams can't just throw cash at their problems anymore. Now, they're rewarded for being smarter, for being more innovative. And that helps level the playing field and really boosts competition across the entire grid. Okay, let's switch gears and go back to those race promotion fees. Why on earth would a city or a whole country pay tens of millions of dollars just to have F1 roll into town for a weekend? The Las Vegas Grand Prix is the perfect example. The city's investment was somewhere around $500 million, a huge number, but the estimated economic return was a staggering $1.2 billion. That comes from tourism, local spending, and that priceless global TV exposure. This really proves the point. For a host city, a Grand Prix isn't an expense, it's a high-return investment. So when you put all these pieces together, the revenue, the team economics, the cost cap, the impact on cities, you start to see this powerful business playbook. And Liberty Media's strategy since they took over? It's been a total masterclass in how to run it. This timeline just shows you the incredible transformation. When Liberty Media bought F1 back in 2016, it was a pretty closed-off sport. They immediately opened it up with a smart social media strategy, but the absolute game changer, the thing that blew the doors off, was Netflix's Drive to Survive. By turning the paddock drama into must-see TV, it brought in millions of new fans, which supercharged revenue and paved the way for amazing new races like Miami and Vegas.
So what are the biggest takeaways from the F1 playbook? Well, a few things really stand out. First, branding is everything. Those cars are basically multi-million-dollar billboards. Second, partnerships are power. We also see that cost control doesn't kill the sport, it actually forces innovation. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, when you combine incredible content with the sport itself, you get explosive growth. All while that deep heritage, that Ferrari factor, builds a kind of customer loyalty that lasts for generations. At the end of the day, Formula One is so much more than just racing. It's a powerful lesson in how you monetize pure passion, how you can use cost controls to your advantage, and how you turn high-speed entertainment into a sophisticated, multi-billion-dollar global industry. It really makes you wonder what other industries could learn a thing or two from the F1 playbook.